Welcome to the No Limit Selling Podcast, where industry leaders share their advice on how you can become better, stronger, faster. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the No Limit Selling Podcast. And sales has a process from getting the appointment, doing the presentation, handling the objections, and closing the sale. And if you do it well, then getting repeat business and referrals. But you can do the best job. It's that last mile problem, right? If you go all the way through the process and you drop the ball when it comes to closing the sale, all of that is for naught. And today we have an expert, Sam Bedros, who is an expert at closing the sale. You get people to the finish line, and Simon is going to help you get over the finish line and score that touchdown. An American reference, but bear with me, the rest of the world. Simon, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me at the show. It's really an honor to be here at this podcast.
Superb. So Simon, what made you write this book? Like this, there's a ton of books out there on every aspect of sales. Why was there another book needed on closing the sale?
It comes actually from my own frustration. Like after reading thousands of sales books, like I was like, why there's like a simple blueprint or manual what get used to easily close more sales? So after reading all those books and doing tons of trials and errors, so I got to the conclusion that I'm going to write my own sales book and help tons of people with this blueprint, which is really a simple three-step process to effortlessly close more sales. So when I first wrote the book, going back to the history, it was the first edition was just the three steps, and then I added the rest of the chapters to make the whole book like more useful to people who are new to sales. So when I first wrote the book, it was like more for the expert salespeople, was maybe they could use the book, but they wanted
Right.
to be a manual, a companion for everybody who want to learn sales, improve their sales skills, and get to the finish
Superb.
line, as you say, to close with us.
So at our show and kind of my work is very much about mindset, because your mindset determines how well you do in every aspect of life, from love to sales to closing. So how important is one's mindset when it comes to closing a sale?
Mindset is literally everything. So that's why I wrote a whole chapter on quite a lengthy chapter on mindset. So I realized like people were having a lot of self-esteem issues they brought with them to sell in sales. So I wrote a chapter on specifically on mindset, how they can improve their mindset and their attitude towards sales. So there were people who were thinking like maybe I'm not a natural salesperson, I can't do this. Um, I'm not cut for sales. Uh, I don't know if what if they reject me. So all those things, it's a really huge thing when you shift your mindset and become a better salesperson. So the one major shift is shifting from mere selling to serving. So you're not just selling a product or service, you're being of service. That was a huge mindset shift for myself. So that'd be a huge thing, I would say. Also believing in your product, taking a proactive approach, using techniques like visualization, all those things that have been huge in my success and my client successes. So these are really big takeaways.
Superb. So the essence of what we do as salespeople, more so now than ever before, is how we communicate with folks. Because there's less and less face-to-face meetings that are physically in their presence. A lot of it's on the phone or Zoom. So talk to me about what kind of communication skills do we need in this new technological world?
Yeah, I believe more in this digital age, people are looking more and more for the human connection, and feeling valued and understood is very huge. What I think has been a key success in closing more sales is active listening and sharpening your communication skills. So, really about listening more and better, and talking less is huge in closing more sales. I go a list of all the techniques. Some of them
So
are NLP, but I don't go very deep into it to how you could close more sales and become a better connection builder.
So Simon, tell me about one area that people could improve in their listening. What's one technique that people could use to improve their listening skills?
One huge one is what I like is the echoing, is basically using the language of the salesperson. So basically using their own language patterns, their words, and saying it back to them. So let's say they say I have a technical problem or have a so and so issue. You say, I hear you. You have this type of problem. Like you have a this problem is costing you both time and money. Like you're just repeating the same words, but you're adding like what I call a confirmational empathy word. I hear you, understand you, I feel how you feel. So these things are very huge, like making the client feel like you're actually listening.
Love it. Let's go to a sponsor for a moment. This is our friends at Mindset Boosters. If you're ready to let go of anxiety, let go of uncertainty, let go of doubt, Mindset Boosters gives you the ability to decide how you act and feel in any situation. Ready to take charge of your mindset? Go to mindsetboosters.com. So, Simon, people are often, salespeople especially, are looking for, just tell me what to say. What's that magic thing I can say that would make a difference, that would get someone to say yes? But sales isn't like that, but we still need to craft a really good pitch. So how do we craft a really good sales pitch so our clients pay attention to us and at least want to find out more?
So there are four major components to writing a winning sales pitch. First of all, it's going to be customized and personal. Customized personal if you can make it, personal if you can't. That's a lesser issue, but it has to be applied to the client, like relating to the client or prospect you're talking. It has to address the pain points of the client. It has to address the pain points.
So it's basically on a compelling sales pitch. So, Simon, how do you develop a compelling sales pitch?
So first of all, you got to address the prospects. First of all, it's going to be customized, so it has to be customized and personal. So I'm going to start all over again. So there are four key components to making a compelling sales pitch. First of all, it has to be customized and personal. If you can make it personal, that's bad. That's good. If you're not, that's lesser of an issue. Maybe of in sales in cold calls, you can make it too personal because you don't know much about the prospect. You could then later for your closing pitch, you could use that information then. So the second thing is addressing the prospect's pain points, and third one is the is having a compelling value proposition. So how does this how do you differentiate yourself from other competitors? So what does make you unique, and how does your solution uniquely solve address the client's problems? And the last one is to keep it concise. You want to make it too long and overwhelm the clients with the details of the product or service. You just have to have the important details to understand how your product or service can help them.
Nice. Simon, a long time ago, the father of modern medicine, Hippocrates, had this notion. When I look at people, they fall into four groups of people, and there's like bile and phlegm and two other disgusting things that came up. So, Simon, you look like a bile person. Only kidding. So, how important is knowing the personality types in closing a sale? Like, how do you ascertain what kind of personality type the person is? If there's an easy way of doing that, and then how do you craft your sales pitch to align with those people?
So I talk about the four main personality types in my book. So there are four main personality types. So the best way you could understand what personality type is just paying attention to how they talk, the language they use. Are they more like they want to like they're more like a bottom line person? Are they more of an analytical type of person? Are they more of a connection kind seeking person? Are they more of an adventurous type of person? So I talk about the four personality types in my book, which is the first one is the analytical, the second, which are more the logical thinkers. They want to see hard data, they want to analyze things before they make a decision. And then I talk about the second one, which is the driver type. Those are the people want a bottom line things like tell me bottom line how this is going to help me. So you want
Right.
to bring what you're looking for before you could make your closing statement and get them to the close. The third one is the amiable type, which I call the more of the connection seeking personality.
Mm.
And the last one is the more expressive type. So these people are more likely adventurous and creative individuals. So yeah. So yeah, you seem to
You'd
be
be a
one of them.
thinker, the analytical type. I'd be more the socializer, telling stories. And one of the ways, dear listeners, you can do
Yeah,
that is in the rapport stage of the sales process. Is like, oh, that's a nice picture. Where was that? Oh, that was on our vacation in Cancun. Oh, tell me about that vacation.
yeah,
And in that question, when they answer it, you'll know whether they're a bottom line person or analytical or a storyteller or someone that really cares about people, and just put that
yeah.
in the back of your mind so you know how to frame up your offering.
Yeah, absolutely. Like while you're talking, while you're asking, you're gathering information, your qualifying process, in the discovery process, you're really getting more to feel you're getting more of a feel of their personality. So I talk it in my book. It's not like a black and white, so it's more of a gray. So not all people fit into one stereotype of a personality. It's just that having this knowledge helps you to better understand how people people think and people what people prioritize. Having this knowledge about personality types, I think that's key.
Love that. So earlier in the conversation, we were talking about the three-step process in closing accounts highly effectively. So what's step one of that process?
Step one is setting the stage. I call that setting the stage because you're really setting the stage. So it's really about making sure that the beginning goes well. So the rest of the close goes as planned. So the first part, it's actually two parts. Like the first step is two parts. The first part is preparation, and the second one is setting the agenda. So let me start over with preparation. So preparation is like preparing for the sales call. The main things to go over is like knowing your product inside out, anticipating any objections, visualizing. That's huge. Like visualizing outcomes, like what might happen, what concerns they might have, how the sales conversation is going to go. It's not assuming. You're just more like having a positive image in your mind. So how things are going to progress. This really helps with being prepared for the sales conversation. Another thing is if you can, if you're for cold calls, especially having a script helps you to sell more and better and make your pitch more efficient. So that's important. But the sales script should be something that's not word by word, something you could have a natural conversation with. As you progress, you will have your own sales script in your mind. You just have maybe a look here and there, just to make sure that you're on course. But it shouldn't be like something you would use verbatim.
So number one, set the stage. Number two, what's number two?
Number two is setting the agenda. So number two is setting the purpose for the call. So you're basically stating um, the purpose of the call. Why when the calls you say to the client, you introduce yourself, the client introduce themselves. You would say like the purpose of the call is to know if it's a good fit for us to work each other. And by the end of the call, if any of us thinks it's not good good to work to make to work together, we should be honest enough to tell each other. So basically, we're limiting the option of a maybe answer. So by setting the frame, the stage of the sales conversation, we're basically limiting most of the maybes or wishy-washy responses from prospects and clients. So we're just being honest with them and we're expecting them to be honest with us.
Brilliant. And what's the final step? Probably the most important step, step three of your three-step process.
Well, we've got step two, which is qualifying, which is gathering information. It's basically how to qualify. Have there's some techniques to talk about many different questions you're going to ask. You, of course, one of them is like asking about them, about their business challenges, goals, businesses, their timeline, and of course their budget in the end, like for achieving their goals. And the third step, as you asked, is the close. So first we want to recap. We're going to go over all the information we gathered through the second step from the qualifying, and we're going to present the challenges they stated, and we're gonna say this is the challenge you told me you're having. Is this a must have solutions? It's something you want to solve, and then we go for a close. When we go for a close, usually it's very important to have a leading statement like saying, "Let's do this. Let's work together." The reason is behind because most prospects have a hard time making a decision. So by you taking the lead and making a leading statement, uh, you can be better help them to make a positive buying decision and a positive commitment.
So one of the things that salespeople they give up too easily. There's lots of data that shows it. The first objection comes and they handle it, and then when the second one comes, a lot of salespeople give up and kind of pack up the tent and they go away. So, what's a good way to handle objections? Because in any situation, a lot of them are quite similar, right? Those objections. What are the common objections that salespeople get? Then we'll talk about how to handle them.
The if from my experience, like the reason why objections come up is because they have done a bad job at uncovering the client's needs in the qualifying process, and you haven't gathered the required information. You haven't dig into their pain points and really what's bothering them. So you haven't asked the questions in any sales conversation when the client is doing most of the talking and asking most of the questions. Like salesperson, people will think like if the client is asking a lot of questions, that's a good sign. It's actually not a good sign. It means like you haven't. You should be the one asking the questions. So if the client is asking questions, especially related to the product, the price, it means like there are some concerns. They're like the open loops within them, so they're not really sure about the product. They don't see the value. I mean, that's mainly the reason why the objections come up. So the best way actually to handle objections is to preempt them. So by really doing the three-step process, going into their needs, their concerns, uncovering what they're really looking for. So you could craft a really
So,
good sales pitch, which will prevent objection from occurring. So by using this method, 95 of the times objections rarely occur from my experience.
so let me give you an objection. Uh, Simon, that sounds like a really good proposal to get our sales team to improve their performance. But I have to chat with my CFO to see if it's in the budget.
Yes, I hear that, Umar. Thank you for letting me know. Just from just a random question, like how good do you know your CFO? Like, do you think you guys know each other? How many
A
years do
little
you know
bit,
each other? You like you
a little bit, not too much. We don't hang out
how
together or
how
anything.
how yeah, like how you have like those many conversations? Like how many years do you know each other?
A couple of years.
Yeah, based on your assumption, what do you think your CFO would say about our product? Do you think it would be a
He'd
good
want to know if it
decision,
really
bad
works.
decision?
He'd want to know if it really works. Like if it's got any success stories he can take a look at, because he needs evidence.
Yeah. All right, Umar, what do you think about if we schedule a two-way call with your CFO and we show these success stories and we'll see if it can make things work out. And if there are any concerns, we're happy to answer you. Well, at the end, your success is our success. We're not here about selling a product or service. We're about having you succeed, which your success is our success at the end of the day.
Brilliant. Thank you for handling that, Simon. Uh, so, one of the things that we have the ability to do with other human beings is to uh, guide them down a path emotionally. And the best way to do that is to use storytelling. So, how do you use storytelling in your process?
Well, the best way to use storytelling in your process is integrated as part of yourselves. You could use success stories of your clients who had great results in your with your product. I would say the good story, I try to keep it simple, which is three components, which is it's gonna be first of all there's gonna be relatable hero. It's going to be relatable, I would say. The second one, it's going to solve the solution, and it's you're going to present the problem. This is the second one. Sorry. The third one is going to present the solution, and the fourth one is going to have a specific call to action. So that's a really good story from my
Love
from
that.
my experience.
So, Simon, you've also got another company that revolves around AI and sales. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I thought about myself like how can I take the teachings of this book and turn it into something really usable for people who want to take not just read the book, but help them actually get coaching on their sales conversations besides just having me coach on their sales conversations. So I really had I had this idea of using modern technology, AI, with the rise of ChatGPT and other AI tools. So I came up with the with the platform you could upload your sales calls. It will analyze your sales calls and give you suggestions based on the book's teachings on how to improve your sales call. And you will have in the end not just suggestions, so you have also like really examples of how to improve your sales conversation. And it's really a two-way dialogue that you could have with the AI. You're using voice, you're just having text, so people want to really have an interaction like a human being. So you have the options like having me the author sit next to you and guiding you step by step how you could have improved your sales conversation.
Oh, love that. Simon, if there was one thing you could teach salespeople to do to make them better closers, what would that be?
I would say the one thing to make you better close is empathy, like resonating with the clients, truly understanding their concerns and problems. That's a really big, huge in closing sales. Like you're at the end of the day, you're not just selling the product, you're also selling the solution. So you should be really be connecting with the client, understanding their pain points and what they're really about, and not just going your pitch. That's really important from my insight. So empathy is really critical if you want to close those really big deals. So you want to really dive in on empathy and sharpen your listening skills and really listen to what the client is saying.
Good. Simon, what's the number one mistake you see salespeople doing that stops them from closing accounts?
The number one mistake by far is assumption, like assuming like you know what the client needs without asking questions. Like you want to really dive in and in your discovery process uncover what the client needs and not just assume. So the key here is to listen and listen more and talk less, so you can really understand what the client is looking for and not just assume, which will end up losing the sale in the end. Assuming kills deals.
Love it. Simon, there's a fine line between being aggressive and being a diligent salesperson. What's the difference between being persuasive and being aggressive as a salesperson?
So there seems to be a fine line between being aggressive and persuasive, but there isn't. Persuasive is just really about helping the client and not just making a sale from them. So you're actually trying to help them and not make a profit of them. We are making profit, but you are not taking advantage of them. So if you really want to get your clients to work with you, so you have to be persuasive and not to be aggressive. So being aggressive is more like taking advantage of them. So being persuasive, you get your client for repeat business and just like one transaction. That's very huge in closing sales. So people are let down or being hard pushed. So they're not really into buying from you if you're gonna become a hard sell.
Brilliant. Simon, nobody likes to be sold to and really pushy salespeople. So, how do you balance the craft of being persuasive to really help clients get a solution they want and not be seen as being aggressive?
People like think there's like really a fine line between being aggressive and persuasive, but there isn't. Persuasive is really about like helping the clients versus being a hard push, which is really taking advantage of the clients, and people could sense that. So if you want to have repeat business, it's you have to be focused on on really helping the client, and that's how you come off in your authenticity while you're doing your persuasion. So you're doing your hard sell. It's just people, the client can sell. You're just doing for your paycheck, and you're not doing it to genuinely help them.
Brilliant. Simon, so I get a better understanding of the power of your process. Can you tell us about a client that you helped, what their sales were before and what happened afterwards?
Yeah, definitely. It was this guy named Liam. I'm a very close person to me, a client. He was basically a mentoring client of mine. So when I listened to his sales calls, he wasn't like using really the techniques I teach. So before I started working with him, his closing rate was about 35%. And then after I started working with him, it jumped up to 65 to 70%. A like really dramatic change once he started using um, the teachings I teach in the book. So basically, he wasn't using active listening, which was very huge part of not covering really what the client needs. Do they need his solution? Is this the appropriate solution for him? And he was getting like a lot of objections. So as I talk, the best way to preempt objections is to make sure you understand what the client is looking for, and if to be genuine and authentic in your approach, and know and communicating that how you could help them. If you can't help them, just let it go.
Brilliant. So, Liam, it's easy to tell someone what to do, but oftentimes it's hard getting them to actually do it. So, how did you get Liam to actually kind of bring it into his bones and actually start using the tools as they were intended?
We would have like personal coaching sessions. Like every time you have the like a sales goal go south, so we'd really analyze it, like what didn't go well. So I really dive dive deep into his sales goals. I went deep, saying you could have asked this question, here you could have shut up, like keep silence,
Hmm.
don't say anything, like just listen. Like many times people overlook this thing. It's like this urge to respond too quickly and not letting the client say what they have to say, which make them feel like kind of like disrespected, I would say. Like you're not giving me the stage to speak, like the attention I deserve. Like how can I trust you to sell me anything? Like even provide a solution for what I need. Like I don't know if I can trust you.
So, adding to that, Simon, it's very much right now, especially now than ever before, but since the dawn of time, people find silence really uncomfortable. And if you create silence, it creates a little bit of pressure on the client to kind of fill the space. And oftentimes, when they fill the space, they tell you what's really going on, as opposed to, because there's different layers of the truth. And if there's silence, then they'll go, oh, well, what's really going on is our CEO is putting pressure on us, and you'll get that goal by just shutting up. And today, with cell phones and technology, there isn't a moment of silence in our entire lives. And even when we sleep, we have anxiety. So, as a salesperson, you can only do that if you develop a high degree of trust with that person and there's a connection at that opening stage. And when you do that, then you can use silence as a really effective tool to help your client get the right solution.
Yeah, absolutely. So you don't want to use it too early. You want to, like, as you're getting deep into conversation, you're asking questions, there are spaces like to keep some silence. You don't want to exaggerate. You want to keep it just a couple of seconds longer than you would like before responding. So it just gives you also the time to digest what the client has said, and before jumping to your next question or response. So I think that's really huge in closing more sales.
Love that. So, Simon, what's the best way of people to get a hold of you?
So the best way to contact me is through LinkedIn. I'm available there. You could reach out. I'll be more than happy to help. Yeah, I really like to connecting with people and see what they're about, what they're doing, what the challenges they're having, and see how I can help.
Simon, I know you want to help salespeople do better. Are there any last words or tools you can share with people that will allow them to get better?
Well, definitely my AI sales coach tool. For the listeners who made it till the end of the podcast, so I want to reward them. I'm giving them a special promo code. The promo code is event 23. So it was from the event that we sponsored. So I'm giving that for free. You can sign up and get 1 month access to the platform for free. Just thank you for being with us till the end of the show.
That's huge, Simon. Thanks so much for being on the show. And stay tuned. We'll talk after we do the outro. If you enjoyed this episode, please go to iTunes and leave a 5-star rating. And if you're looking for more tools, go to my website at nolimitselling.com. I've got a free mind training course there that's going to teach you some insights from the world of neuro-linguistic programming, and that is the fastest way to get better results.